Lighting's good. get a bag of dirt? Yeah. Do you have clips? I got clips on mine. Yeah, I got them. Here, give that to me.
the mic situation, I'm going to have to talk a little loud because we're recording this and sending it out to 24 other businesses, and some of them are piped in live right now. So if you can't hear me and you want to move up, it's your opportunity to do it. Come on up here. Come on, guys. And if you don't mind, we silence your phones. I'm looking at you, John. How you doing? All right. Hey, first off, thank y'all so much for coming. Both the, Snyder here inside of the building, and then the folks piping in across. Shoot, a whole handful of states. There's 24 businesses, I think, kicking this off with us today. I know it's the middle of summer in the AC business. It's a big ask. I know we got some record heat out there, so as you know, we sincerely appreciate everybody joining us today and getting together. We know how difficult that is. For people outside this room, I'm Brad Schwartz. I head up the Southeast region. It started originally here with this team and handed this business over to Brad Kelly a couple months ago. And it's been fun to watch them grow. Probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we announced a partnership with Wounded Warrior, and it's a great example of what Apex strives to do, which is drive empowerment and autonomy down to the lowest level. It creates a lot of initiative because this whole idea of a partnership, started with this team in this room and championed by Brad Kelly, Sean Van, and Akrit Malik, and marketing leaning in pretty heavily, and some others, and turned into a nationwide all Apex businesses partnership with Wounded Warrior, which is similar to the partnership they have with the NFL and some other big brands out there. So it's a big deal and a great opportunity, and we're thrilled to be able to see it happen and have it start at the business level. So as I was thinking about what to say here and try to describe the best of my ability, why Wounded Warrior, why Apex. And for me, all roads kind of led back to it being really personal. And I think a lot of folks in this room and a lot of folks, piping in and watching this via the live stream, that are vets can understand how, what Wounded Warrior stands for and what they look to solve for the vet community just drives and pulls out like a whole lot of past with us. And to bring that to light a little bit and explain it, I wanted to share a story because I was thinking about it over July 4th as we celebrated this great country's birthday. I thought of my roommate and best friend from West Point. Guy's name's Jake. We graduated together, and then he deployed soon after, maybe 4 or 5 months after, and pretty quickly got hurt. He got blown up and lost both of his legs, one at the knee, above the knee, and one below, which, for all those familiar, complicates things significantly. His mom called me during the 2 weeks that I get off before I go to Afghanistan to get my butt up to Walter Reed and meet him as he comes in from Germany and support her and Jake in any way I could. So my brother was also in the Army. We went together and we spent 3 weeks hanging out with Jake's mom and Jake while he fought for his life. I didn't know anything about Wounded Warrior at the time. That was my first exposure to it. Can you hear me, Sean? Okay. What I did see, though, was a constant presence in the ICU, volunteers walking around. There was a gentleman who lost his legs in Vietnam who showed up and pretty quickly made a commitment to Jake's family that they're going to be here until this is over, until he gets better. And as I was thinking about that, I called Jake yesterday morning because he pulled through it all with the help of organizations like Wounded Warrior and Wounded Warrior, and asked him, hey, what was the impact? What did that do for you as you went through what was probably hell on earth, personally fighting through a life-changing injury like the one he had? And he kind of very matter-of-factly and with a kind of a laugh goes, oh, they saved my life. And a couple of organizations played a big role in doing that as well. And the way Jake described it is they were his bridge that stood between incredibly helpless and lonely time in his life, being a young guy who was a Division I athlete who now doesn't have legs, on his road to one, recovery, but then just figuring out how to live the rest of his life. Played a huge part in that. As we got, and continued to talk a little bit about it, he brought up, 1/4% of this country, raises their hand and answers the call to serve in our military. Of that population, it's service. You can't have service without sacrifice. It's a part of the definition to it. And as folks serve, some pay the ultimate price and they never come home. Others come home with physical wounds like Jake's that we can see, and others come home with invisible wounds. And Jake challenged me to look up the latest Veteran Affairs suicide report that they put out. And has data from 2001 to 2019. A little alarmed when I saw that, but 114,000 veterans from 2001 to 2019 have committed suicide. To put that in perspective, I think it's a little over 7,000 have died in combat in Iraq and Afghanistan during that period of time. In 2019, 45,861 Americans, adults, took their life in 2019. 6,241 of them were vets. It's like unacceptable. Any number over zero is something worthy of our best efforts. And that's what Wounded Warrior takes on as a huge challenge and makes sure that they build a bridge for folks transitioning through exceedingly difficult times and get welcomed into the large swath of this population, pardon my language, that just absolutely gives a shit about the people that serve for this country. And, as I was talking with Jake and thinking about Apex, and the way we're built and what we're about and our culture, and the values that we try to, make all of our decisions through and adhere to as principles, and building a really, really potent servant leader model that's built around taking care of technicians with a very simple idea. If we take care of our people, they'll take care of the business. Apex was a little over $100 million when I joined this thing, and everybody in this room, a little less. I think we had 100 folks then. Got to see me smiling and get introduced on the first day. Apex is about 5,000 folks strong, about 3,800 technicians. It's a lot of homes we can go into and talk about Wounded Warriors. We're very, very similar to my experience in the military and this idea of service. I feel it every day walking around the halls of all the businesses in the Southeast and the other ones I get the privilege to go visit, and I certainly feel it every day here at Snyder. It's very similar, esprit de corps around this idea of service and taking care of the people in our communities. And I couldn't think of a better fit on planet Earth and a cause more worthy than joining up with Wounded Warriors and helping carry that torch and ultimately help reinforce and build and strengthen the bridge that Jake eventually walked across. So that's the goal, and I want to welcome all the Wounded Warrior folks that have come to join us. So I'll give them a quick round of applause. And it's also my pleasure. I'm going to read a little bit of this, sir. To introduce the CEO of the Wounded Warrior Program, Lieutenant General retired Mike Lennington. Mike served for 35 years in the U.S. Army after graduating from West Point in 1980. Over that time, held several key positions. One was leading one of 4 brigades that make up the 101st Airborne Division, and then he ran all the plans for Afghanistan for a while, and then joined the Wounded Warrior team in 2016 and has done great things with the program since. So my pleasure, sir. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
First, let me say what an honor it is to be here. I feel at home. I'm from the South, South Jersey. 35 years in the military, except for marrying my wife, 42 years this May. Being the CEO of Wounded Warrior Project is the biggest and the most important responsibility I have, and that includes leading troops in combat in Iraq and Afghanistan and 22 other places around the world. Up front, I'll say Brad's an amazing leader himself. He's very humble in his own service. Airborne Ranger, Pathfinder, Special Forces, Green Beret, infantryman, and the other Brad. I guess you have to have the name Brad to be successful here, but likewise, service in the 75th Ranger Regiment, one of the most deployed units in the Army. How many folks here in this room are veterans themselves or family members of a veteran? Raise your hand, please. Thank you for your service. How many people in this room know a veteran, are neighbors with a veteran, or know a veteran that today or in the past has struggled? Raise your hand. Yeah, as Brad said, that's what we do at Wounded Warrior Project. We're an organization of about 830 people scattered in 25 states. Jacksonville is our headquarters. Today we serve more than 200,000 wounded, ill, and injured service members and help them connect, serve, and empower. Since 9/11, 3.5 million young people have raised their hand and said, "Take me, I want to serve." And as Brad said, that's less than 0.5% of our nation's youth. In World War II, 30% of young men served in the military. 30%. So when they came home, they came home largely as a group, and their neighbors to the left and right of them served. Today, that's not so. Today, when you come home, you're largely alone in your community. You miss that bond of friendship and camaraderie that comes with shared sacrifice, and you want to reconnect with fellow veterans and communities that can help you heal mind, body, and spirit. Combat is a difficult place. Abnormal conditions for normal people. But yet young men and women go into it anyway. They get through it together, and they protect the freedoms we enjoy and our way of life. So why am I here in Jacksonville as the CEO of Wounded Warrior Project? Similar to Brad, I will tell you, for the last 2 years I was in the military, part of my responsibilities were welcoming home plane loads of wounded, injured, and ill service members that were coming out of Iraq and Afghanistan, where both Brad Schwartz and Brad Kelly served. Blast victims, gunshot wounds, amputees, double, triple, quadruple amputees, and those suffering the psychological wounds of war. Wounded Warrior Project was there for them then, as they were at Landstuhl for Jake Murphy, and we're still at Landstuhl in Germany today, the #1 hospital where wounded service members go to when they come off the battlefield, and help them start their healing process. We provide programs and services in about 20 different areas: connection events, physical health and healing events, mental health care, financial counseling, benefits counseling for those veterans that need their disability benefits taken care of, and we provide jobs with corporate partners like here at Apex Services and Snyder. I tell you all that because if you know a veteran, those of you that had your hand up, that are not reconnecting with life after military service, please send them our way. That's what we do. And if there's one objective I would like to get out of this partnership, and it is a partnership, it's that all of you in this room know where to go for help if a veteran you know needs help in their transition and in their recovery. That's what we do. We can't do it alone. We certainly can't do it without corporate partners like Apex Services and Snyder and 20 other brands that are here with us today for this this kickoff event. By the way, I need one of those T-shirts, Brad. I'm telling you, I need one of those T-shirts. But we can't do it alone without corporate partners. And when you think of our big corporate partners, the NFL, Johnson & Johnson, Harley-Davidson, Apex is right at the top of that list. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm available afterwards if anyone wants to connect with me individually. I have cards. But I just tell you, thank you for this great partnership, and I look forward to the next many years together as we serve more and more veterans, as you serve in a really hot environment here in Florida for those guys that are doing the work that keeps our people safe. I have the privilege this morning of introducing a friend of mine, Devin Shy. Devin's the handsome young guy right there with the beard. I tried, I couldn't do it. Okay, it comes in white. I can't figure that out. Why does it come in white? Military service is a family affair. Recent statistics show that 61% of those that serve in uniform today have parents that served in the military as well. 61%. 83% have family members that have served. Devin followed in the footsteps of his father and his brother as combat engineers in service to our nation. His older brother was critically wounded, shot in the head by a sniper, survived his injury. That was in 2005. And Devin decided to follow in his brother and his father's footsteps and serve in combat until he was critically wounded as well. Give it up, please, for Devin Shy, who's going to say a few words.
I didn't know I was going to be around a bunch of West Point grads. I would have built a PowerPoint for you.
Okay, Devin's done. Devin's done.
I'll teach you how to walk too, sir. My greatest moments can't be my greatest moments without my greatest defeats. And within my greatest defeats, I had to learn how to pick my ass up and continue mission. You know, in the military, they teach you all these things, and they give you these missions. Apparently, I don't know how to stand next to a microphone. They give you these missions to accomplish, and they give you this goal, and they give you these assets, and they tell you to use everything at your disposal to accomplish your mission. They set you up for failure every single time. They want you to fail. They want you to look at every avenue of approach and let you know that it's going to be controlled chaos out there and you need to work as a team together. When I deployed to Afghanistan in 2010, my life was going to change completely. As you can imagine, stepping foot overseas. I was pulled from my company altogether and sent to another infantry team that I was going to be set up with them. Our whole job was going to be able to kick in doors and clear houses and get our enemy out of there. On July 2nd, 2010, I was called onto a mission to go help another base out to ensure that they had all the assets that they needed and that I was going to team up with that the Marine unit that was out there along with the Army unit that was out there, and we were going to go clear houses. Got into my convoy, and unfortunately I was hit by a complex ambush. I had 4 rockets come into my vehicle, blowing my best friend's leg off, substantial damage to the left side of my body. I had a huge chunk out of my thigh, huge chunk out of my calf. Left eyesight was gone. Couldn't hear out of my left eye, which my wife loves because I can't hear half the time, so I just get yelled at constantly. But I was put in a situation to where I was actually comfortable, believe it or not. We had done so much training before this that I knew exactly what to do. Everybody knew in that truck exactly how to perform first aid the best way possible, how to get comms up, how to get support the best way possible. We were using everything at our disposal. After a 20-minute firefight and sitting in my own coffin, I was watching my best friends almost bleed out and die in front of me. My best friend, Sergeant Wallace, who was missing his leg, was coming in and out of consciousness. I was keeping him awake the best way possible, and finally the Black Hawks showed up and sent us off. I went through emergency surgery, and I was sent to Brook Arm Medical Center, where I had met Wounded Warrior Project the second time. And I actually didn't want anything to do with them. My whole goal was to get in the hospital, get my surgeries done, and get back overseas to my men. But unfortunately, they told me that I wasn't going to be able to do that. Christmas Eve of 2010 was my first suicide attempt. I was sitting in a Wounded Warrior program, WTB, at Brook Arm Medical Center, putting on a uniform every day, but no training, no anything. I was going to therapy, which I hated. I had to go to physical therapy. I had procedures nonstop. I hated every second about it. That uniform didn't feel like I was doing anything anymore, and it had gotten to me. And thankfully, I successfully failed at my suicide attempt. But it was at that moment that I realized that I needed help, and I reached out to Wounded Warrior Project and asked them just for some guidance. And they had guided me through every single program that they had and walked me through every single one of them. From Soldier Ride, which was my first program that I went on, which is 50 warriors on a bicycle riding 50 miles, no matter what rank you are, no matter what branch you are, except for Coast Guard. We don't really like them. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. But I was sitting there with my brothers and sisters, and we all came from different backgrounds. We all had different stories. Some of us had deployed, some of us hadn't. But it didn't matter because we were brothers and sisters in arms. We were getting guidance from each other. When I decided to get out of the military and kind of pursue life, I didn't quite know where to go. There's not a lot of jobs out there for combat engineers. For you don't know what combat engineers are, we blow up things. So there's not a lot out there for us as job-wise. So Wounded Warrior Project offered me a job to share my personal story and raise awareness and thank the people who have supported the organization and my family. And I jumped on the opportunity. For 9 years, I've got to travel around the country and share my story. But it didn't come without struggle. Post-traumatic stress is not something that just disappears. It's not something that you can cure. It comes and goes as it pleases. It could be 5 years before you see any type of memory or anything like that in your mind, and you have to tackle it then. 4 years into my job, I realized that there were some issues that I needed to tackle. And there was one organization, of course, the fact that I worked for them helped me out a lot, but I knew that they had programs out there to help with post-traumatic stress with the Warrior Care Network. So I checked myself into a hospital in Boston, Massachusetts for 2 weeks with other warriors where I got to get new tools for my life. And then after that incident, I decided to pack up and leave Texas and move to the cold state of Wisconsin. Wasn't the smartest idea, but I had met the woman of my dreams and decided to buy a house and start a family with her. And it wasn't until I had children and realized that there was a lot of other things that I didn't tackle. And just a couple months ago, I checked myself into a hospital again in Chicago with the Warrior Care Network. This time it was a week-long program for just myself. No other warriors were around. It was just me and the therapist. That gave me the tools to be a better father and to be a better husband. If it wasn't for these programs, I truly don't think I'd be here. These programs, I'm one of thousands of stories out there that saves lives. We have, I'm not even going to attempt to say the number. We have a lot of warriors in our system. Because my CEO is here, I'm definitely going to get it wrong. But there's 200 plus thousand. All right, I'm close. 200 plus thousand in our system right now. Every single one of those warriors have some type of story, whether that's a combat story or stateside story, whether it was hurt, driving a car, or even overseas while riding in a convoy. All those warriors are accepted. You do not have to be physically wounded to be part of Wounded Warrior Project. We're an organization that's going to last a lifetime. Even though the war is over overseas, it's just begun here stateside. These warriors are going to continue to need help. We've seen it with the Vietnam veterans that needed our help when they came back home, and they still need it now. And we're going to be that type of organization that's going to be around forever. This organization wouldn't be standing here in Jacksonville, Florida, if it wasn't for all of you. Without your support, I wouldn't be here. So I personally want to thank every single one of you. The fact that you guys are stepping up and ensuring that my brothers and sisters are not forgotten, because the greatest casualty is being forgotten. Thank you for making sure that that does not happen. And thank you for supporting me and making sure that my mental health came first. Hope all of you enjoy the rest of your day. We're at a bar, so let's crack open the kegs. No? All right. I tried, guys. I appreciate it, guys.
This logo is a logo we're very proud of. It shows you one casualty being carried off the battlefield by another. At Wounded Warrior Project, we say, we challenge each of the warriors we serve to live the logo where you're carrying somebody else. And at one point in any of our lives, we need help, right? Whether it's as a kid or as a young adult, certainly if you're in combat, you need help from your brothers and sisters in arms. At one point in the recovery of our warriors, they're being carried off the battlefield. We challenge them that after they're healed, they carry others in their journey of recovery as well. That's certainly what Devin models every day. He's a peer mentor, he's a peer leader, he's a role model for other veterans to get help when they need it, and that's why we're so proud of this logo. Living the logo, be very proud of the logo that's on the back of your shirt, and thank you for your support for what you do every day. God bless.
All right, y'all. Now let's talk a little bit about goals. So, Apex, as a larger team, as I said earlier, about 5,000 of us, we committed to a $100,000 goal that we would get raised via or donated by the organization to the Wounded Warrior Project. So I'll use Devin's number. 200,000 folks, warriors that y'all support currently. I think that goal is pretty low in the sense I think we can contribute more than 50 cents to each warrior out there. How's that break down by business? $5K per business in the next 12 months. So I don't think it's a whole lot to ask. With a bar that low, that we knocked that out in the third quarter. So by the end of September, each business knocks out $5K in donations. We're each business out there, whether you're coming through us remotely or Snyder in the room, you have your own landing page. There's going to be a tracker. We'll spend a whole bunch of time just getting you oriented to what ways in which you can, activate driving donations in a home. The most effective way, for all of you that had the privilege of being trained by, our late dear friend Rick Hutcherson, you just need to ask. You'll be surprised what people will say yes to. So when you're in a home, I'm going to challenge you to just ask. Talk a little bit about the program. We'll arm you with some more information after this on how to do that. But there's a whole host of ways to get creative, and Sean's going to talk a little bit about what some of the businesses out there have already come up with.
All right, just a few ideas I want to share out with the room. The big takeaway is that we'll be putting out some frameworks and some ideas to help inspire the thinking and the brainstorming that's going to happen inside of the local businesses. And we'll also be sharing some guidelines because there are certain things that we can and cannot do being associated with a charitable organization. So we want to make sure we stay within those guidelines as you're planning and thinking about what you're doing. So a few ideas that we've seen thus far from some of the teams. The Whipple team is thinking about having an employee fundraising breakfast or dinner where they get the team together. Each one's contributing a little bit. They take up a pot and they present that as a part of a contribution from their organization. They're also looking at what they can do as an organization in the month of November. For every service call, they want to collect $5 and pull that in to their donation pot. ACE has also been thinking about fundraisers for their employees, having a couple of events where every dollar that's given by the employees will be matched by ACE. So I think that's another great idea. They're also going to be sharing on social media, along with their other direct mail campaigns around here's the program, here's what it stands for, and here's how their customers can donate, just a pure outreach to their customers. And then some general ideas that we've seen thus far are as follows: creating opportunities like Brad talked about for clients in the house to donate right on the spot. We have some discounts that are available that our teams that are out there selling know about, connecting an opportunity for someone to share that discount with Wounded Warrior Program instead of taking it for themselves. Local brands are also thinking about ways that they can get involved in local communities. So there are this group here in the room. You're fortunate to be in Jacksonville. You better participate in a Carry Forward 5K. And there are Carry Forward 5Ks virtually hosted for those out there streaming with us, as well as some live events in Nashville, San Diego, and San Antonio. So there'll be opportunities for you to donate as a group, donate individually, and challenge your clients to donate as well. And I'll leave it with just try to think of creative ways to get out there in front of your audience and talk about the mission and the purpose of what we're running after. So more to come, more ideas to come, more frameworks to come. The next step would be to send in your activation plans to AK. He'll run those up the flagpole, make sure we're all aligned, and we're off to the races. So I'll leave it to Brad.
Again, I want to thank everybody for giving us the time. If we give a quick round of applause for Courtney, Chris, Devin, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. And of course, everybody here and everybody piping in, thank y'all for everything you do. None of this is possible without y'all. Y'all built this country. We know that. Let's do some good together and help a lot of folks that help row for this team for a long time and need a little bit of help. So thank y'all. Appreciate you.